Hi guys, this is Dr. Suguna. In this video, I am going to discuss how to create list and what are the operations you can perform on the list. So what is a list? List is a collection of items in particular order, in a specific order. So in Python, you can create a list using square brackets and it can contain multiple data types. Lists are mutable, which means that you can change their content. How to create a list? So the lists are created using square brackets, or you can also use list function to create a list. You have to separate each item with a comma, and the elements can be of any data type. List can be empty or it can contain any number of elements. So this is an example. So the first example is my list, which contains 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items. First 3 are numeric. The next is string data type. Another one is a float data type. And you can also create an empty list by just mentioning as open bracket and close bracket. And you can create a list of strings like this. Or you can use a list function to create a list. So within the list function, we have a function called range, which means that it just specifies the values from 1 up to 5, excluding the end value. So you will get as a return, you will be getting all the values from 1 to 5, which is enclosed in a square bracket, and it will be stored in my list. So we can perform certain operations on the list. So to access a list, we'll be using the operation called indexing and slicing. So what do you mean by that? We have a list. Suppose we have created a list like this. Now I want to retrieve the first element of the list. So where I will be using the indexing concept. Indexing means every element is specified in particular order with the index starting from 0. The first element is can be referred by using the index 0. Next is 1, 2, like that. Okay, so this is a very common thing which will be used in different data types in Python. So my list of 0 means it will print 1. Okay, so the elements in a list are indexed starting from 0 and goes up to the length of the list minus 1. Say for example, the last element of this list will be 4. The length of the list is 5, and the index of the last element will be length minus 1, that is 4. You can also use negative indexing to count from the end of the list. Always the last element in the list is referred using an index minus 1. And the second to last is referred by the index minus 2, and so on. And you can access the elements using indexing or slicing. So we'll see some more examples. Slicing, what is the difference between indexing and slicing is, indexing will retrieve only one element from the list, the corresponding index. Okay, with the corresponding index, you can refer that element and you can retrieve. But with the slicing, you can retrieve a subset of the list. You can retrieve more than one elements from the list. So we have to specify the starting and the ending index, which is separated by the colon if you are using slicing. Now see this statement, print my list of 3. Okay, my list of 3 means, so it is referring to this list and it is index is 0, 1, 2, 3. So it will be referring to this element and this element will be printed. That is 4. Now I am referring a slicing operation. Slicing means I have to give the start index and the last index. So the starting index is 1, the last index is given as 3, but it will retrieve the elements 1 before it, which means it can retrieve 1, 2. The elements in the index 1 and 2, but it will not consider the index 3. Okay, so it will refer 0, 1, 2 means it will retrieve 2 and 3. And remember that whenever I retrieve the element from the list, the output will be in the list form. And I am using a negative indexing. So what will be retrieved if I give as minus 3? So minus 3 means here it is referred, the last element is having the index as minus 1, minus 2, minus 3. See, there are two ways you can access the elements, where you can go from left to right or right to left. If you go from left to right, the index starts from 0. If you come from right to left, the index starts with minus 1. So you will get the value as 3. Now, to access the values in the list, square brackets are used to slice along with the index or the indexes to get the value stored in that index. So, the normal way we can access the values in the list is you can specify the list name, then you can specify the start index, stop index, and there is one more parameter called step. So, which will tell you whether how much to skip when you are scanning from start to stop. So, I'll give you an example. So, if you are given a list like 1, 2, 3 up to 9, and I am printing list of, remember the three parameters, start, stop, and the step. If I don't mention anything here, which means that by default it will start with 0. And if I don't mention any stop parameter here, then it means that it will always refer to the entire list, that is till the end. Okay. So what it means is you start with the current, that is start index, and you have to increment by 2. The index should go with the, after getting the accessing that element in the start index, you have to increment the index by 2. That is what it means. So which I will get as first value is 1, then the index is incremented by 2, so it is referring to 3, and again the index is incremented by 2, so it will refer the element 5, then 7, and then 9. Okay. So similarly, we'll see another example. List of 1 colon colon 2. So here the beginning is given. Beginning is given as 1. 1 means it is referring to 2, not 1, because the index is starting from 0. So 0, 1 means it is referring to 2. Then it goes with the entire list because I didn't specify the stop. So that is why, see, start is 1, then colon is given, but stop I didn't mention, which means that it will scan the entire list with the increment of 2. So what do I get? It starts from this value, then incremented, the index is incremented by 2. So you will get the values as 2, 4, 6, and 8. Okay. So next, print list of 2 colon 5. Now look at here, we have a start and the stop, but there is no step, which means we have to proceed with the single step. Single step means next to next elements. 2 to 5. So 2 to 5 means 0, 1, 2. So 2 is referring to 3. Then 3, 4, 5. Okay. So now when I mention like this, I will be getting the values from 2, 3, 4. It won't include the 5. Okay. If I don't mention, it will include all the values. But if I mention this top value, it will take the index 1 before that. It won't consider this 5. 5 is excluded. So it will include the index 2, 3, 4. It will access the elements in that index. Okay. So it will be giving me output as 3, 4, and 5. So then list of 5 is equal to 100. That means I am assigning some value to the existing list. So which I am telling that in the index of 5, you just store this value 100. So which will be replaced? So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 6 will be replaced with 100. Okay. So you will be getting the output like this. So this is how you will access the values in the list. Now, how will you modify the list with adding items? We have different methods to modify the list. We can use append method. We can use insert method. We can use concatenation. Then we have extend method, and you can also use plus equal to operator. Okay. So remember, append, insert, and extend are the most commonly used methods for modifying the list. We'll see an example. So now I have given the list as 1, 2, 3. Now I am using the append method. So how to use that? You have to use that list name dot append. And what you need to add to the list that you mention in the parenthesis. So then print my list. So you will be getting the output as 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So this will append will always add the element at the end. Here you can add only a single element. Just remind that append will help you to add a single item to the end of the list. Now, it is adding to the end of the list. Suppose you want to add any element in between the list, in between the elements. Then we can go for the insert method. So, where you have to mention in which index you want to insert the new element. So, let us see an example. Okay, so first let me explain the extend method, because see, append method allows you to add a single item to the end of the list. What is the case if you want to add multiple items at the end of the list? That is where the usage of the extend comes. Okay, suppose you have a list and use the extend and you add a set of elements. Okay, so then we'll get the output as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, extend means along with the existing element you can add more elements. Okay, so that is what the usage of extend. Now as I told you, insert method will add an item at a specified index. So we are telling that insert 1 comma 4. Okay, so now what will be the output? So at the index 1, so at the index 1 you insert this element, which means that at the index 1 initially there is a 2. Okay, this will be shifted. Okay, shifted right. It won't be deleted, it will be shifted right, and this 4 will get inserted here. So you will get the output as 1, 4, 2, 3. Clear? Insert means it won't delete, and that particular index it will insert the element, which means that the existing elements will be moved one step ahead. Okay. Now we can also use plus equal to operate to concatenate another list to the existing list. So just use the plus operator to add along with this one list another list. Okay, so you will be getting the same operation which you are seeing in the extend. Okay, extend is similar to using this plus equal to operator. And you can also concatenate. Okay, so you can use, this is an expansion of plus equal to, so we can have a list and you can concatenate by using this plus operator and redefine a new list. So these are the operations which is used for modifying the list. So remember about append, adding only one item at the end. Extend will add more than one item at the end. Insert will add a particular position to the given item. Okay. Then we can also remove the items from the list. So how do you remove? We can use the method remove, or you can use the method pop. You can use the del statement to remove an item at a specific index. Okay. And you can also clear method to remove all the items from the list. So we have all these four methods which will be used for removing the items from the list. So remove is used to remove a specific item in the list. You need to tell which item I want to remove from the list by in this method. So see here, I have a list defined and I am using remove method. Always use the list name dot along with that this remove method. You need to tell which item you want to remove. So 3 is the item I want to remove. So I will get the output as 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5. Okay, removing that 3. Similarly, you can use the pop method to remove an item at a specific index and return its value. Okay, so I can use pop by specifying the index. Okay, specifying the index means 2. So index 2 refers to the element 3 because the index is starting from 0, 1, 2. So it is referring to the index 2 means it is referring to the element 3. So this is the element to be removed. Okay. The removed item also you can just capture and store it in another variable. So you will get the output as 1, 2, 4, 5. Okay. Then del statement is also used to remove an item at a specific index. or a slice of items. Okay, so you can also use, here you can see the difference. Now I am not using this my list dot that method. Remove and pop are the methods. Method means you have to associate with the list. But this is a statement. Statement means you have to, you no need to associate with the, as a method. Instead, you will be writing a statement as my del. Then you represent the my list and the index. Okay. So it will remove the, delete this particular element, that is 2 from the list, and you will be getting the values as 1, 3, 4, 5. And if you want to clear all the elements, again clear is a method. Method means you have to associate with the list name. So I can use my list dot clear to remove all the elements. So you'll get a empty list. So these are the functions which are used to remove the items from the list. So you can also use del for deleting a subset of values. So I can delete all the elements starting from the index 1 ending with 2. Don't include 3. So 1 and 2, which means it will remove the elements 2 and 3. Okay. So you will get a element as 1, 5, because see, already I have deleted 1. So my resultant value is 1, 3, 4, 5. This is acting, this particular statement is acting on this output. So you will get, you will remove 3 and 4. So you will get the output as 1, 5. Okay. Now, you can also sort the list by using the methods. So you have sort method to sort a list in ascending order, and you have sorted function, okay, to create a new sorted list without modifying the original list. See here, when you use the sort method, the original list will be replaced with the sorted values. Here the original list will be as such, and this sorted function will give me a new sorted list without modifying the original list. So I'll show you how this will work. So I have taken some example and I am applying the sort method. Method means you have to associate with the list name. So dot sort. So this will sort the values. Now if I print my list, it is printing only this. This original list value is modified. Okay, so you cannot retrieve this original value. Suppose you want to have the original list as well as the sorted list, then you can opt for sorted function. So how to use that? You have to use sorted of my list. Okay, this is a function. This is a method. Method means you have to associate with the list name. Function means you can call directly by supplying that parameter as my list. Okay, so this will give a sorted list. So where you will have the original list as well as your sorted list. Okay, and you can also sort a list in descending order using that attribute called reverse equal to true. So let us see how this will be done. So I have taken the list. Now I am writing dot sort. Here I didn't mention any parameter, which means that it will sort the elements in the ascending order. If I mention the parameter as reverse equal to true, then it will print the values in the descending order. Okay. Then this is an example to sort the list of strings in the reverse alphabetical order. Okay. So I can use my list dot sort reverse equal to true means it will just print all the values in the reverse alphabetical order. Okay. So the idea is you can use sort or the sorted function. The sort method should be associated with the given list name. You can either sort in the ascending order by without mentioning any parameter. If you want to sort in the descending order, then you need to mention the parameter as reverse equal to true. That's it. Now, reversing the list is also useful by using some methods. So you can use the function like reversed. Okay, reversed of my list. Reversed of my list will reverse the elements in the list. Reverse means what? It will write from the right to left. Okay, that is what you mean by reverse of my list. And after using this function, you have to apply the list function to convert the output as a list. Okay. So this is what you mean by reversed list. See there in the previous example, for the sort we used reverse is equal to true, which means that the descending order is mentioned. Here the reverse means just printing from last to first. Then reversing a string and joining the characters parameters is also possible. See for example, if I use hello world as a string, now I am reversing a string. Okay, so reversing a string will reverse all the left to right. Okay, but I want to reverse based on this characters. Okay, hello should be reversed, world should be reversed. Then there is an option called join parameter. So wherever this up to this that empty string, you can apply this reversed my string. So it will give me like this. Okay. So this will be comma then OLLEH. Okay. So it is joining the characters parameter. Now we can use loops to access the elements in the list. That is iterating the list using the loops. You can use a for loop for iterating the elements in the list. The way you have to use is for any variable in my list. You have to use in my list and then print item. So it will print all the elements in the list. Okay. Another way you can use is if I want to access the elements along with the index, then you can use this enumerate function. So how to use that is my list is this one. Now I am retrieving not only the elements, also its index. So how I can retrieve is using the enumerate function. Enumerate my list. So this will give me the index as well as the item. Okay. So I am printing the index value and the item. So index is what, item is what. Okay. So you can use this F format for replacing the variable name with the value. All these variables will be enclosed in a that is braces. Whichever variable is enclosed, that will be replaced with the value. So you will get index is 0, item is apple, like that. So enumerate is useful whenever you want to refer or retrieve the index of the item along with the item value. And you can also use while loop to iterate over a list. So when you are iterating over a list using for a while loop, then you need to initialize an index variable is equal to 0, and then you have to access the element using only this index. Okay. So you have to say index is less than length of my list, then print my list of index, then you have to increment this index. So this is the only way we can use using while loop. But for loop doesn't require any index representation. Simply if I put for item in my list, automatically it will refer the elements in the list. But here we need to define the index variable, initialize to 0, then you have to set the limit. Limit is till you reach the end of the list. You have to access the element using that index. Okay, and increment this index value every time. So next part is list comprehension is a concise way you can create the list in Python using this list comprehension. It is allowing you to make a new list, or this list can be formed by filtering, or you can transform the data from an existing list. So you have to use a square brackets within an expression and a for loop. Always for this list comprehension, you will be using an expression and a for loop. So let us see some examples. See here. My list is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now this is what I call as a list comprehension. So first you need to write down a for loop. This for loop is accessing the elements in the list. So for x in my list. Okay. Now what I need to do, that expression should be preceded by that for statement. So this statement says that for every value which you are retrieving, you just do this operation. That is x squared. Okay, this is exponential operation double star. So it will produce the x squared. So what it means is you introduce a for loop to get the element or access the element in the list, then for each element, what operation to be done, you just mentioned before that. Okay, so this variable is x. So whatever you retrieve, you just square it and form a squared list. Okay, so this is one list comprehension. So what this squared list will contain is, it will contain all the squared values of the elements in the list. Okay, it will contain 1 squared, 2 squared, 3 squared, 4 squared and 5 squared. Now, next one is using a filtering along with this. So filtering is, see, again you write the for loop to access the elements for x in my list. Now I am applying a filtering operation using a if statement. If x mod 2 equal to 0, which means that if it is a even number will be divisible by 2. Okay, so we are checking the remainder x mod 2 is equal to 0. Then only you have to attach this value x in the list. So you need to read like this. First take this for statement. So to access the elements, then apply this filtering. So if x mod 2 is equal to 0, then you append this. So for example, first it will take one element and it will check whether 1 mod 2 is equal to 0. No. So then it won't add this x. Okay. Then it will take 2. 2 mod 2 is equal to 0. So then this 2 will be added to the list. Okay. Similarly, 4 will be added. And that is what you will get the output of the even list. So you will get the output as squared list will have 1, 4, 9, 16 and this even list will have only 2 and 4. Okay. Now this is another example. So what we are doing is, this is the list and I am retrieving all the element in the list, and for each item I am just multiplying by 2. So my output will be, each element is multiplied by 2. So we'll get 2, 4, 6, 8 and 10. That's it. So that is about your list comprehension. So these are the operations which you can do in a list. So we have seen how to create a list, how to modify the list, and how to access the list. Accessing the list is by indexing and slicing, and modifying we have seen how to add, how to remove the elements in the list, how to delete. Okay, and then how to clear all the list, and along with that list comprehensions. So thank you for watching, and you subscribe to the channel to watch more videos. Thank you.